Hey everybody, today I wanted to talk about a classic jazz album by Miles Davis called Kind of Blue. And this is probably the best known jazz album by anyone ever. And it's really an essential record that I think anyone should have if they are into collecting records and having a well-rounded record collection. I think even people that really are not into jazz can appreciate Kind of Blue. It's definitely the most accessible of all the jazz records. I think as far as winning the title of most accessible, it's tied with Dave Brubeck's Time Out record. But it's just an amazing, amazing recording, and even if you think you haven't heard some of these tracks, you probably have, just because they're so famous. And this copy has just been listed on my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com. So go on there, check it out. And I want to talk a little bit about this particular pressing. So this one happens to be an early 1970s pressing of this album. And this album originally came out in 1959. So obviously this is a much later pressing, but the reason why I chose to do an early 1970s pressing of this album is A, because it sounds excellent. It sounds very, very good. And B, because the early pressings of Kind of Blue are just impossible to find at a, first of all, clean, second of all, at an okay price. In fact, I have never heard an original pressing of Kind of Blue that was totally clean. All the ones I've heard have been pretty noisy. And I've heard like mono pressings of this record, and while they sound good, I think the stereo is definitely the way to go. So this one is actually a 1970 pressing of this album, and it's on the Columbia label, and this is in absolutely mint condition, and it just sounds phenomenal. From the very first 30 seconds of the opening track, So What, you just know that you are in for a sonic experience unlike any other. This record, first of all, this record means a lot to me, just as a musician and as a music lover, and I know it means a lot to a lot of people. And hearing it on record, the way it was recorded and the way it was meant to be heard on vinyl, to me is just such an experience that I think everyone should, at least once in their life, should hear a pressing of this album on a good stereo from a great sounding record, and just experience it all the way through, because it's just that good. To me, the thing that makes this album, besides just the amazing music that's on here, it's the musicians that are playing on this record, and it's basically a who's who of the best jazz musicians of all time. So, of course, you get Miles Davis, but in addition to Miles Davis, John Coltrane is also on this record, which is amazing. John Coltrane is probably my favorite, my favorite jazz musician of all time. I love John Coltrane. I love all of his albums, and he's on here, and he's amazing. In addition, Paul Chambers plays bass on this. Paul Chambers is hands down my favorite jazz bass player. He plays stand-up bass, obviously, and he is so underrated in my opinion. And on this record, he sounds the best he's ever sounded. This pressing really has excellent bass. You can hear every single note that he's playing, and hearing every single note is just, it's a game-changing experience as far as listening to Paul Chambers on bass. Then you also get Cannonball Adderley, who also plays on this album, and Cannonball Adderley is another just legend when it comes to jazz. Then you get Bill Evans, who plays piano, and Bill Evans is, of course, an amazing musician. In fact, Bill Evans was in Miles Davis' band, but then he left to go pursue his solo work, but then Miles Davis asked him back just to play on the Kind of Blue sessions. That's how amazing Bill Evans is and was. And then also Wynton Kelly plays on one track as well, plays piano, and Wynton Kelly's amazing as well. And then on drums, you get James Cobb, and the drums on this record are just phenomenal. Basically, every single instrument on this record and everybody playing it, it was so influential that so many people based their careers off of this album. Like if you were a bass player, you'd listen to how Paul Chambers was playing bass. If you were a trumpet player, you listen to Miles Davis. Same with like a saxophone player, you listen to Coltrane and Cannonball Adderley. Piano, Bill Evans. I mean, it's just, the list goes on and on. This is just such an influential album, and it really touched a lot of artists that it kind of even seems like a very far-reaching influence. I know, like Duane Allman. There's a quote from Duane Allman that said that he listened to this album just over and over and over again, and that a lot of his influences come from this album, Kind of Blue. So that's how important this album is to music and to musicians. And it's just one of my all-time favorites, and I think everyone should own this album. I really do believe that firmly. To me, it's like, everyone should own Revolver by the Beatles, and Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles, and Abbey Road by the Beatles. And everyone should own a copy of Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Everyone should own a copy of Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. And so on and so on. Well, everyone should also own Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. So go on the website, check this out, needlemeetsvinyl.com. You will see it on there. This is just an amazing sounding pressing of this album, and I really think you would enjoy it. If you haven't heard this album, now's the time. So I also wanted to let you know of a few other records that I've just listed on the website. First of all, I have I have listed this second copy of this Revolver German pressing. This is on the Blue Odeon label. This is from 1969. This is a stereo pressing from Germany, and it is amazing. And I already sold the other one. I sold it within like 12 hours, I think, of listing on the website. This is the second copy, and it sounds almost as good as the one I listed previously. It's still a 5-star rated record on my website, which is the highest you can do. The only difference between this one and the other one is this one has just a little bit more. It's not quite as clean as the other one. That being said, it's very, very clean. It sounds excellent. But you'll notice on the website that I did lower the price on this one, just by I think it's like $30. $30 less. But go on the website now. This is going to go very, very fast. So go to needlemeetsvinyl.com. Check this one out. That's on the website. Then this one I literally just listed about 10 minutes ago. This is Fleetwood Mac's album, Then Play On. This is the last album that had Peter Green playing with Fleetwood Mac. And this happens to be an original UK pressing, and it's the earliest stampers you can get. You got A-1, B-1, and it's on the tricolored UK Reprise label. And this sounds amazing. If you like British blues, this is the record for you. It sounds phenomenal, and this record is very, very, very hard to find, especially these early UK pressings. Especially here in the States, it's almost impossible to find. I picked it up from a collection. Some guy was selling his collection, and a friend of mine told me about it. And this is from that collection. And it sounds excellent. So go to the website, check this one out as well. Fleetwood Mac, Then Play On. And then I listed this. Now, this is an album that I think gets majorly overlooked. This is Derek and the Dominoes in concert. This is a concert that was recorded in 1970 at the Fillmore East, but wasn't released until 1973. And Derek and the Dominoes only put out one studio album, which is Layla, which is just an absolute classic. And then the only other record they put out was this, In Concert, and it's so great. In my opinion, this is Eric Clapton at his absolute best. When he was with Derek and the Dominoes, it's the best Clapton for me, and probably for you too. He is just so full of raw emotion, and on this live recording, he has never sounded better. There are long, extended guitar solos that he is just he is just in another world completely. And this sounds absolutely amazing. This is a pressing that has AT-GP in the dead wax, which I'm not going to go all into exactly what that means, but let me just tell you, it means that it sounds excellent. And these are kind of hard to find now. And it's on the RSO label. But this is just an amazing, amazing sounding record. So check this one out as well on neilmeansvinyl.com. Then I had someone in the comments who asked me to find a good copy of Dire Straits' Love Over Gold. So I picked up 4 copies of this album. I had 2 UK pressings and 2 US original pressings. This happens to be the UK original pressing, which beat out the US pressings hands down. It sounds just so much better. It's on the Vertigo label, and it just sounds very, very good. If you like Dire Straits, you know how amazing they are. And this is just one of their moodiest, just very, 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 very good albums. They, in my opinion, Dire Straits made, motorcycles. I live on a main street out here where I am, and motorcycles just go buzzing by. It's just part of life. Anyway, as I was saying, Dire Straits made a lot of great albums, and this is definitely one of them. So check this one out as well, Love Over Gold. This is a UK pressing, and which, by the way, I think has it's a Robert Ludwig pressing, so even better. And last but not least, this one is very, very cool. This is Frank Sinatra's first album called The Voice. And this is an original, early, when I say early, I mean early stamper of this amazing album. It is on this Columbia 6i label. And it's in excellent, excellent shape. These are the first recordings Frank Sinatra made with Columbia Records. And originally, these recordings were released on 78 RPM discs. And I think they were released as like a set of 4 78s. But then, and that was, I think, released in 1948, I believe. Then Columbia released it then on like a 10-inch record. And then finally ended up releasing it on this actual LP 12-inch album in 1955. And it's a mono recording, and while it's definitely not a hi-fi recording, it sounds really good. It has this analog magic about it. So if you like Frank Sinatra, this is a huge collector's item. And on top of that, this is in absolutely near mint condition. The sleeve that it's in has sharp corners. The record is in very good shape. Whoever owned this previously probably just didn't play it for whatever reason. So this is also on the website, neilmeansvinyl.com. So check it out as well. So that's it for now. Make sure to go check out all of these new records I just posted. And maybe add one of these to your collection. They are all very, very cool records, in my opinion. And the coolest definitely being this Revolver. But the second coolest definitely being Miles Davis, Kinda Blue. So head on over to needlemeansvinyl.com. Check out all of these. I've written lots and lots of information about each one of these records. And also, before I go, because I always have to say something before I go, this Friday, I cannot wait for Abbey Road, 50th anniversary. I got the deluxe box set. It's being mailed to me. I got it through Amazon. I think it's the 3 CD set with the book. And then also on Friday, I'm going to go to one of my record stores and hopefully pick up the vinyl edition of Abbey Road, the anniversary edition. And I'll probably make a video of that, of the whole process of me going to the record store. And hopefully I can film inside the record store. I don't know if they'll let me or not, but we'll see what I can do. And and then of course I'll do an unboxing, and I'll give you my initial thoughts on Abbey Road, and I'm just very, very excited about that. And I haven't listened to Abbey Road, by the way, on record for a long, long time. in anticipation of this Friday because I don't want to get too Abbey Roaded out. But I don't know if that's even possible because it's just so good. Anyway, that is it for now. Go to needlemeetsvinyl.com, check out all these records. And, oh, by the way, if you haven't, add me on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is needlemeetsvinyl. And you can check out what I'm doing on there. I'm always listening to records, always talking about, records. That's why we're here, right? Okay, that's it for now. And talk to you later. Bye.